one thing that they did agree to doing was doing some question and answer sessions for students. But myself, the other officers, and I think pretty much all the students that went along to those sessions felt that it wasn't really an opportunity for them to have any input into what was going on. It was just them kind of being told what the university were planning to plough ahead with, and I know a lot of students were really not happy or impressed with the outcome of those.
They say that they've organised meetings with staff where they could consult them on the process. However, when those meetings have taken place, they've been meetings where management have informed staff of what is going ahead. The first meeting of consultation was taken after the decision had been made to outsource services. So the entire process is a facade, it's a sham, in order to make people feel like it's been dealt with democratically, but actually people haven't been consulted at all.
Every formal committee that we can think of, we've brought up the issue, so in council, in Senate, in the meetings that we have with the Vice-Chancellor's executive group, we've flagged up the issues there, and we've also taken them a proposal for consultation and how they should consult with the student body, and that was done before Christmas, but as of yet we haven't even had a chance to meet with them and to get any feedback on what they even think about that, which is a concern for us, and it's something we really, really want to work on and push through.
At the beginning of Senate there's a report by the chair, who's Michael Farthing, and he was doing a bit of a report about the update on the process or whatever. And so I asked, and then he asked, are there any questions? And I asked if I could have the floor for 2 minutes, and I read out a statement highlighting all the concerns, what the campus community want, rather than a few individuals in management. And basically that was completely ignored, and after I read out, I wasn't interrupted, but after I read out my 5-minute statement, I was they just moved on.
I'll come back to the start of it. The senior managers of the university dragged us into a meeting and told us that we were being privatised.
The first I knew of it was the first anyone beyond VSEG really knew of it. Was we were called into a meeting in Bramber House on the 10th of May last year and told it was going ahead. That was it. That was the consultation.
After that, the only personal consultation was being offered a meeting with special outsourcing people. We were actually not from the university, they were from outside the university. So I didn't go to them because they could only answer general questions. They couldn't answer the specifics that members of staff like myself want to know.
Basically, I belong to a union. So a lot of the messages that I've got about the inverted commas consultation process have come through the union. And to me it seems, whilst the powers that be are prepared to negotiate, in inverted commas, on the terms and conditions of people once they've been privatised is happening, the whole idea of the privatisation hasn't been negotiated at all.
The information that's been provided to the unions all the way through, that's been provided to the students, that's been provided to the campaign all the way through since the process began, has been very, very spartan in nature. What information has been yielded has really been yielded after constant pressure, but there's a lot of information that we've applied constant pressure for that still hasn't been released. So there are the names of the bidders, there are the numbers of the bidders, there are the dates associated with the process, the competitive dialogue process, the bidding process, that we haven't been provided with all the way down the line. What information has been yielded, some has been provided only after freedom of information requests. Well, that shouldn't happen.
The secrecy around the names of the providers, the terms of the contracts being negotiated, and around the actual outsourcing plans. So the outsourcing was discussed at a council meeting, but the council meeting was never made public. Council members have had to sign a declaration saying that they were not allowed to disclose any of the discussions at the council meeting.
The much vaunted by management dialogue that's taken place with constructive meetings with the unions, and they'll give a list as long as your arm of dates and times and attendees of meetings, but we have no minutes of those meetings. So in terms of the upshot and the proof really that little has changed, if anything, in the proposals, it's their word against our word. We are saying this cannot qualify as a meaningful dialogue and a constructive consultation exercise, because it's as if they had wheeled the whole proposals out yesterday, because they haven't changed since May last year. Where's constructive?
This was a meeting of a senior executive board of my own school. So this is a board of the directors of the school, where important matters are being discussed. In that meeting, we were told what our figures for growth would be for our school, and I questioned them. And in the minutes of the meeting, there was no mention of the reservations which had been expressed. I asked to have a correction, and I didn't get anywhere. So eventually, after a long correspondence, I had to come to the conclusion that the minutes would never be corrected. I would never manage to get it included in the minutes. That not only me, but actually others had kind of queried whether the figures were attainable. Because I have the feeling that whenever we express dissent, it's very difficult to have the dissent being recorded, as a result of which the official story becomes that everybody is behind the plans, that there is no dissent within the university, that there is enthusiasm, for example, for the student growth. And you can see that, for example, in the registrar, in a chat in The Guardian, saying that there is enthusiasm for the agenda for growth across campus.
Well, on day one, when we introduced the badges, the catering staff, for example, were told that they couldn't wear badges just because it didn't form part of their uniform. It appears odd that if you look around, there are uniformed staff, be they security, porters, whatever, that are wearing badges. So that does seem to be a particular decision of a particular management line among the 235. But it goes further than that. I mean, there's kind of, I'll say suggestion, but it was certainly more than that, that staff should not attend meetings that were being organised on their behalf. When the badges were introduced, I used it for some time at the bottom of my email in the early stages of the campaign. I was the only one using it, and when it was spotted by management, they actually bigged the issue up by asking me to remove the badge, which I did from my day job email signature.
Another issue is all student emails. Unlike other student unions across the country, the student union at the University of Sussex doesn't have that ability. And that's a massive issue, the fact that we are completely unable to contact all of our members. And I know in the past the student union has requested this from the university. It's been going on for absolutely ages now. They've given us the postal addresses of our members, and that's really unfair, and it makes absolutely no sense when the university itself is able to very easily contact absolutely everyone, and they are purposefully blocking our ability to do that. And of course, I mean, there's arguments that people don't want to be spammed, but the student union wouldn't do something like that. We'd send out things that are important to our membership. And it's also really important to know that when it was the emergency members meeting just before Christmas, and we were going to discuss the issue of outsourcing, usually the university agrees to send out emails about members meetings like that, but on that occasion they refuse to. And I think that's a massive issue if we're unable to tell students about our democratic processes and how they can get involved in decisions that are ultimately going to then shape the direction that the student union is taking.
Well, I think ever since the 1960s there's been a strong sense that students are as much a part of the university and ought to have a say in the running of that university. That if we recognise the university as a community that functions beyond simply its core activities of teaching, research and administration, but that it has wider public functions, then why wouldn't everybody who has an interest in the success of the university be part of it. And that doesn't involve only staff and students and those who work within the university, but I would suggest also the local communities within which universities are embedded, because they also have an investment in how the university operates.
They've been very unresponsive, and like they've done the exact opposite. Instead of engaging in dialogue, they've put an injunction on campus until September prohibiting all forms of protest, which is completely like Machiavellian and like surreal.